What I wanted to talk about today, I've got a long list of Facebook topics that have all come in from people when I surveyed to find out if this would be of interest. And so, yeah, I've got lots of topics. Feel free to add more in here, as I want to make sure I'm covering the things that you want to know most about. So every Monday, yeah, I'll be showing up to talk about what I think it takes to get really healthy and to not have it just be some sort of phase that you go in. And so one of the topics, or one of the things that somebody asked me to cover was, what does it take how do you stick to something long-term, right? What does it take to do something, to stick to a program? And right there, even by the phrasing of that sentence, what it tells me is that there's a block to somehow understanding that you're doing a program, not shifting your lifestyle. So I'm just going to give it a minute here as people are joining, and I can see Linda, hello, Julie, hello, Allison, hello. I hope you had a super great birthday week last week. And, maybe you, as you are watching this, I'm sure that, you have your own ideas about what it takes to succeed long-term, and share your comments, right? Because some of you have done this, and it's not pretend, it's not, you've got confidence that you're not going to regain the weight. And so let me just, dive right back into it, right? The minute that you think that, you do a plan, a program, a cleanse, a diet, Whole30, whatever it is, the minute you significantly change your lifestyle and it feels hard for you, right? You stay in the mindset of, oh no, I'm giving something up. I don't know how long I can do this. You are staying in a dieting cycle. So if you really want to get healthy, if you really want to lose weight, ultimately that's what I am super great at helping women do, is lose weight and keep it off. It's making sure that your mind is right first, right? You've got to make sure you've got the right perspective going in, because lifestyle changes are required for a permanent shift to sustain over time. There is no other way. Right? And that's the problem, is so many women are oscillating from overeating, doing whatever we want, drinking the wine, and having the chips, eating the ice cream because, hey, life is hard. I'm a good person. I want to have a break. I need a treat. I deserve to feel rewarded today. And then we catch a photo of ourselves or a glimpse of ourselves in the mirror and we go, really? I don't want to, I don't like how I look. And so we go back to nothing, which is, I'm not going to eat sugar, flour, gluten, soy, eggs, milk, anything sweet. I'm going to cut out wine. I'm never going to eat chocolate. I'm not going to go out. And then we live in this crazy world that neither of those states are sustainable, right? Or if you stay in the overeating state, well, then you will just consistently put weight on at the, forever, right? Every decade. So we want to find the sweet spot. And the sweet spot of weight loss is, what does it take for you in your mind to commit to get healthy? Hey, Kirsty. Oh, good to see you. If anybody's wondering where some of my photos have come for like the weight loss code and stuff like that, Kirsty took them. So I'm just going to say a little shout out to you for that. And a program is a concept, right? It means that you're still facing resistance, that the changes that you need to make are necessary, which is why I literally go into stages of grief when I go through my programs with people. It's because the minute you have to change from what you know and what you're doing, right? The comfortable, familiar, even if you don't like it, position, to over here where your new world, new life, new way is possible, there's this gap in between, which is very unknown. It's like, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm a little bit afraid. I've tried and failed before, so I don't know if I can succeed. So I'm going to let my fear of failure and my past failures stop me from trying. And that's why so many people like the 2-week thing or the 30-day challenges, because in our mind we go, oh yeah, I can do that for 30 days. Yeah, I can hang on. I can white knuckle something. I can live without X, Y, and Z for 30 days. But the concept of forever can feel much more daunting. And so one of the things that I think is really critical here is, if you haven't been, we've got something special going on right now. It's the weight loss code. A lot of women have come into that community. If you haven't yet, maybe some of the people here who've joined it and have had seen some of the interviews can share their thoughts on if it's valuable to join in. But, every expert is talking about the psychology behind the change. And Dr. David Friedman was just a guest in one of the interviews. And basically, There is no one right way to do this for everybody. But what we do know is there's a common wrong way. And the common wrong way is to not take daily consistent action, right? Thanks, Louise. I'm glad you're liking them. It's when we do the same things over and over, day in, day out, beating ourselves up for things not changing, and yet we engage in the same behavior. So that's the common wrong way. The right way, for every woman out there, there's going to be a slightly different right way for you to lose weight and get healthy than there is for your neighbor or your sister or your mom or whoever. And a lot of it is adjusting to the mindset of lifestyle changes. So when you want to commit to a program long term, what you need to do is ask yourself, can I see myself doing this for 5 years, right? Start to identify, how is this treat food soothing you in a way that food has become a replacement for whatever needs that you have that are not getting met. And that's critical, because food does become that. It becomes comfort, it becomes companionship, it becomes a distraction, it becomes solace, it becomes what we think can sometimes be healing or comforting when we're sad, mad, angry. And so the reason that diets don't work is they don't take you on the journey of your inner self, basically. And when you want to stick to a program, what you really need to say is, I'm ready for a life change. I am ready to become the woman I want to be, who's radiant, full of vitality, who's strong, physically, mentally, emotionally. And then you don't just get that way. What you have to ask yourself is, what does that look like for me? What does being healthy look like? You don't just get healthy. Healthy is a journey. Health is a process. You don't just lose weight instantly. Weight loss takes time, and more time. It requires more time than most women are willing to admit or like to hear, because weight gain can happen so quickly, right? The damage I can do to my body, or the impact I can put into my body with food in a day or on a weekend or on a 5-day or 7-day vacation, that can take me weeks to get rid of it. And so, I lost my thought there. And so that's the challenge of it, is, what am I willing to do? What does it look like? And then to get healthy, you have to start acting healthy today, right? It's the actions that you take today that creates your results 1 week, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months from now. And most of us are wanting our actions today to create radical change by tomorrow or next week. And so it takes a bit of time to adjust to that philosophy. I'd love to hear if that resonates for you, or if you've had that same experience, or if you've gone on this journey yourself, what your internal process was, because it is different for every person. And a lot of times you want to go on this journey, right? You want to stick to a program or change your lifestyle, but there's people that you might perceive that are holding you back, whether that's a spouse, family members, a busy career. There can be these things out in your outside environment that you feel are detractors from your commitment. And what's been so cool in the weight loss code is, so many experts have come on strong saying that's a victim standpoint. The minute we go to start blaming our outside circumstances for not taking action for something that we want most, we've got some sort of emotional block or barrier that we need to work through. Because there will always be circumstances in our life that can be derailing, right? There's always going to be that person, that thing, that girlfriend, that partner who's like, oh, come on, just have a glass of wine with me. Just, eat the fries. Let's get the deep fried calamari. Let's order Chinese, right? Like, that's what it is. And so having that internal compass where you understand what healthy looks like for you, and that you're willing to commit to healthy actions consistently on a daily basis, that's the starting point. Now, so I said I was going to talk about the do's and don'ts. The other thing that I see people do is they decide that they're going to make 17 gazillion changes, every single change under the sun that you can imagine, and they're going to do it all now, and they're going to do it all perfectly. So this concept of perfection is brutal. That is one of the biggest things that stall you out, because it's like, if you're not perfect, then you fail. You're a failure. And so once again, we're oscillating between that all or none, right? I'm either going to be perfect or I'm off the wagon and I'm going to stay down there and I'm not going to get up. I'm going to go crawl over into the ditch because I now feel crappy about myself because here I am failing yet again. And the question is, well, what if that's just normal? What if that's part of it? What if actually perfection didn't exist, but sometimes people think that perfection is this like perfect flat line that you never deviate from. But what if perfection actually is little ups and downs along your journey, right? Little bounces where you fall down, bounce back up. You're, really consistent, and then something happens, but you bounce back up again. And that belief system allows you so much more room to be human and to succeed than holding yourself to this idea of, I need to be perfect, or I need to do all of this all at once. So the other thing that happens, and this is the psyche of weight loss, is you got to understand how behavior change works, right? Behavior change works by one, we have to feel ready, right? So we need an internal sense of confidence. And often we don't start things until we feel confident. But here's the trick. You don't get confident until you start something and get the result. So it's like chicken and the egg. Are you going to wait for your confidence to come to finally feel ready to tackle, creating some sort of life transformation? Or are you going to go, I'm as ready as I can be, and my go time is now, it's today. But I don't need to do everything all at once, because if I do that, I know I will move into overwhelm, and overwhelm is the precursor to quitting. So what our brain does is it takes in where it feels like we can be successful, because at every moment of the day, your subconscious is operating for you to keep your emotional energy and for you to stay emotionally safe, right? All parts of us, we work so hard to be loved and accepted and to feel valuable and to feel successful. And if there's anything that threatens our value, success, or acceptance by others, well, then it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do that, because I don't know if I can live if I'm rejected or hurt. And that's the fear. Now, if you're in the weight loss code, I'm sure, as some of these ladies are, well, you've heard me say, fear is the illusion, but God, it feels so real, right? We can make it up to be so big. And if you've got kids, or if you've had kids, or if somebody in your life who's got kids around you, kids don't do this, right? They don't worry about what's going to happen when they pile all of the blocks on something, or how they're going to, if they're ever going to walk. They just, they fall down over and over, and they just keep getting up. Think of a kid learning to ride a bike. Oh my God, how many skinned elbows and knees, right? But with us, we're like, I don't know if I'm going to try that. So one of the things you want to do is, as you're getting ready, or if you're in the middle of some sort of life transformation, right? Some of you are on that journey. Some of you are like starting the journey, and some of you are waiting for the time when the journey, you feel ready for it. Oh, Christy, I'm just going to see your comment here. You have so much to say here that resonates. Oh, good, but you don't have time to type it all. I know, it's good. It's a mental battle about who you are first in your life in every moment. Yes, exactly. And when you finally realize how much you allow others to sway your choices and decisions, that creates self-sabotage. Totally, right? And we're fighting against the forces of self-sabotage all the time. And some of that's going to be from family of origin, who's in your life, who's around you. But honestly, when you get so clear on and centered on you, and you are able to love yourself as much as you give love to other people in your life, your relationship with yourself changes. The bullshit that you're willing to tolerate changes. The boundaries that you become willing to set, they change too. And you've got to have boundaries, because if you don't have boundaries, you're kind of just like that weeble wobble, being pushed down all the time and then popping back up for some other force in your life to push you down another way. And so when you have strong boundaries and you know who you are, and more importantly, who you are becoming, right? Because we are all in the journey of evolution of self, right? We are all on this path. And it's about how we want to evolve and change. And I have a personal belief system that this physical home that I'm in, my forever home, while I'm in this body on this planet at this time, I want this physical home to be as healthy and as strong as possible, because that gives me the best vehicle to move through my life with. And I know what it's like to live in this home body vehicle that doesn't feel good, that feels tired and worn out and stressed and, depleted and overweight and not confident. I know that feeling. So one of the things you do want to do is ask yourself, what is the thing, identify it, right? Identify where do you get stuck? What are your triggers? When you've started on the journey, what stops you? Is it stress? Is it somebody that's around you? Is it a negative comment from somebody? Is it a life circumstance? Because that's how you notice where you need to sharpen your edge, right? It was all about strengthening, we want to better our best and then strengthen our weaknesses sometimes. And Julie just says, in so many ways, weight loss is a byproduct of everything else in your life being in alignment and loving yourself for who you are. Totally. And part of what was so interesting, Julie, I love that, because when you are out of alignment with who you are, when you are living life in conflict with what you value most, you feel this dissonance. You feel an incongruence, an unsettledness, a longing, a deep desire for something more, better. Questions like, is this it? Is this all there is? Wander through your head because you wonder, you don't believe, you can't accept this to be true. And all I can say is, for me, when I was at my heaviest, it wasn't the fact, that I was heavy that bugged me. It was the fact that I was so living life in contradiction to what I valued most. And I had to, I was stepping on my own value system. No one else was making me do it. I had become a victim to those things myself. And sure, there was things along the way. I mean, motherhood, it's hard, right? Looking after parents, it's hard. If you're in the sandwich generation, God love you and help you, right? If you're in school, if you're working 2 jobs, everybody here has got different life circumstances that you're up against. And, I love, because one of the things that we're talking about in the weight loss code right now, as of yesterday with Lisa Lutan, is gratitude. Deep, profound, courageous, bold gratitude for the things that are good. So even if you do struggle with your weight, or you have a bad relationship with yourself right now, or with food or people in your life, that can be all consuming and really pull your focus away from where you go. We get caught in the drama of it. So you need to unhook yourself from that and step back. It's like the time to reassess. And I truly think that there's wake-up calls coming all the time, right? Little messages all the time where it's like we're being asked to step up into a greater version of us so that we can serve in a better way, so that you can be more of who you are, do more of the things with your, do more with your gifts. And if weight is holding you back, then you don't get to shine your light as brightly on the people in your life at this point in time. And I mean, that's it. So how do you stick to a program? Oh, love it, Christy. I'm so glad. We'll have to connect again soon. I know I'll reach back around. But that's the thing, is like, if you've tried a program and it didn't work for you, it's not the program that didn't work. It's your mindset that failed you. Right? There's a million different programs out there, programs or kickstarts or things that can get you going in the right direction. But if you don't cultivate the deeper belief system about what it means to create this transformation in your life, well, then you will fail. And it doesn't mean the program doesn't work for you. It just means that you haven't applied all of the deeper principles of transformation yet. And that's okay. It's how we learn. Right? I have learned and failed and fallen down so many times. Many of you watching know this. And you pick yourself up and you evolve, you strengthen, you cultivate your emotional resiliency by going at it again. And this is it, right? When we unhook ourselves from the immediate, in the moment drama, step back and tune in to the bigger picture. Allison, I think you're saying this right now. Yes, you've been making choices that are based on emotions and they feel bad physically. Yes, this is it. So often the physical desire, that fleeting in the moment feeling that we will satisfy by doing something, and in the big picture is actually a way to punish ourselves. We don't recognize it, right? And so this is why when you look at lifestyle changes or a transformation, not being on a program, it's a deeper commitment to who you are. It's like saying, I'm going to show up and be the best that I can with myself because I love feeling good. I love feeling resonant with my choices. I love feeling healthy and strong and mentally clear and not in overwhelm and not stuck and not beating myself up for shitty choices that I make when I know better. That said, I have compassion for all of this, right? When you're exhausted, when there's lots of things going on, I mean, I get that too. And so, sure, is some of this easier said than done? Possibly, but it's also as hard as you make it. And so my question is where can you decide to make this just a little bit easier on yourself, right? What's the new thing that you need to think so that you can commit to the idea of not being on a program, but evolving into the best version of you? So I'm going to leave you with this, like that thought today.